I will give you a comparison of 7 different standards, which I believe that are actually the most important standards at the moment in the voluntary carbon market. This will be the voluntary carbon standard, the carbon fix standard, the climate community and biodiversity standard, Plan Vivo standard, and the 3 US-based standards, such as the forest standard by the American Carbon Registry, the Climate Action Reserve, and the Chicago Climate Exchange. Before I start with the presentation, just small 5 most important references which my presentation is based on. And in addition to these references, I have also reviewed and analyzed several documents of the different standard documents. Okay, brief some comments on the content. I will give you at the beginning the background of the standards. Then the focus of my presentation will be on the major differences between the standards, which will include CO2 quantification methodologies, the permanence approaches of different standards, the co-benefits, practicability, registries, and finally I will give you some price indications. And then finally I will summarize it up and give you my personal recommendations. Okay, coming to the background, the CCB standards normally or do not account for CO2 credits and only certify projects which deliver co-benefits and especially for land, or only for land-based projects. Then the carbon fix standard focuses only on afforestation, reforestation activities, and it was designed to provide project developers practicability and deliver basic co-benefits, and in addition to that also transparency. Then the voluntary carbon market standard allows project developers to develop different projects such as afforestation rate, improved forest management, and also agricultural activities. And it focuses on delivering the market innovation and credibility of carbon credits. The Plan Vivo standard is a standard which focuses on community projects where poor farmer and communities in developing countries develop forestry projects and develop sustainable land use management. Then coming to the American standards, the Forest Project Protocol developed by the Climate Action Reserve was designed for North American forest projects and will be potentially included in the cap and trade system, or in the future cap and trade system. The American Carbon Registry is also a standard for the US voluntary and pre-compliance market and uses tools of the ARCDM and also of the VCS. And finally, the Climate Exchange, Chicago Climate Exchange Forest Standard is also a standard for the voluntary and legally binding emission trading scheme and focuses on delivering the market robust and cost-effective emission reductions. Okay, coming to differences, we have 3 major different approaches of quantify CO2. We have IRCDM methodologies and then own methodologies, and then in addition to that, all the US-specific ones. The VCS concentrates on or allows project developers to use either ARCDM methodologies, or project developers can also develop their own methodologies, which are then subject to a double approval process by 2 independent verifiers. Similarly to that, we have the American Carbon Registry, which also allows to use the ARCDM methodologies and also VCS methodologies. Then the carbon fix standard has developed its own simplified methodology, which is based on the IPCC good practice guidance. Plan Vivo project developers require that projects or that developers develop an own project-based methodology, which is always a little bit different based on the project type. Then we have the American standards. The Climate Action Reserve has also an own methodology, providing quite a practical guidance, but it is only for US forests applicable. And also the Chicago Climate Exchange provides guidance specifically for US forests. And maybe I have to say that both American standards allow that projects are also developed in non-Annex 1 countries. However, the guidance only provides practical tools for the US-based or for the US forests. And the CCB standards, the quantification, as it does not account for CO2 credits, it depends on the carbon accounting standard, which is used in addition to that. Then coming to the permanence. We have two approaches, the fixed buffer and the flexible buffer. And the carbon fix standard uses a fixed 30% buffer. And in addition to that, if we have, or if forest is destroyed due to natural hazard or mismanagement, the project developers are also obligated to conduct additional replacement plantings. And the Chicago Climate Exchange Forest Standard requires that 20% of the issued carbon credits are withheld in a carbon forest reserve pool. Then coming to the flexible buffer, the Voluntary Carbon Standard has developed a risk assessment tool where project developers have to conduct a risk assessment, which is then also subject to a double approval process. And the percentage can range between 10 to 60%. Then the American Carbon Registry also uses a risk assessment tool of the VCS, so it's actually the same. The Climate Action Reserve has an own risk assessment tool, and it's, I don't know how, or it's not possible to say now how, the range of the percentage of the risk, but it's, I think it's quite similar to the previous two ones. And the Plan Vivo standards requires that minimum 10% of carbon credits are withheld in a carbon in the buffer pool. And in addition to that, it depends on the expert assessment, which is then also subject to the approval of the Plan Vivo Foundation. And as CCB does not account for carbon credits, it depends on the additional add-on standard. Then coming to co-benefits, we have here I differentiate between three different levels, and I think it's justified if you revise the different documents. And we have here the CCB standards, which, as it only focuses on co-benefits, it has also the highest level of co-benefits, and in addition to that, it has also the highest market credibility. Then we have the carbon fix standard, which through guidance on sustainable forest management, it ensures that basic socio-economic and environmental co-benefits are delivered and ensured.